Thank you so much, Lacey. Thank you for inviting me today to speak to you all on behalf of WELY Radio. Some of you probably don't know who I am. My name is Terri Pylka. I am born and raised in Ely. I have lived here for now back in the area for 20 years. I had a stint in Minneapolis for a while, and then Ohio, and then Mississippi. And in Mississippi, loved it, enjoyed it, said I would never move back to Minnesota. Yet here I am with aging parents and such. We made the decision to move back 20 years ago this past May, and do not regret that at all. It was the best decision we ever made. My children would agree. They loved growing up in Ely, and they have fond memories of growing up here as children. So yes, I've been back now for 20 years and have had a couple of different jobs in the community. I've worked at the Vision Center. I worked for John Mills for quite a number of years. And I also worked at Ely Echo and the radio station 8 years ago. In fact, my stint back at the radio station was 8 years to the day. Another thing I said, I would never go back to radio. And yet here I am. I never thought that a company would come in and purchase our radio station and let it be a radio station for our community. I just never thought that that would happen, because we all know kind of radio is kind of dying in a sense. That's what they say. I don't agree with it. But Civic Media came along, and here we are. I started having talks with them back in February, and literally when that conversation started, I just started using it as my manifestation. And I said, when we get back on the air, when we start doing this, and here I am, and I could not be happier. I've been lucky again to work in radio. I did not know radio was my gig. I happened to get it just walking down the street. Somebody pulled me over and said, hey, you want to come answer phones for a couple hours a week? And I said, sure, why not? And I fell in love with it. I did not know that I loved radio. Like I said, I've had some different jobs. I did work at WDIO when I was 19 and 20, but that's television, not radio. And loved that, but did not know that radio was in my blood. And I fell in love with it, and I am so glad to be back. And I'm so glad to be partnered with Civic Media, who's letting us do this the right way. They believe so much in local community radio, and they have invested in our community in a big way for us. And I am, like I said, very excited about it. Ely is just a unique community. We are very fortunate to live in this unique community, and radio, having this station, embodies our uniqueness. And people want, when they visit us, they want to take us with them. Now they can continue to take us with them, and we are evolving and growing and offering new avenues for them to do that, and we are very excited about that. So again, some of you probably know the history of WELY, and it's been in this community for decades, started back in 1954, I believe. It was found, I think it was 54. It's seen many ownership changes, format changes, technology issues. It's seen it all. But one thing that has not changed through this entire time is that connection to our community. Many of you also probably remember Charles Perrault. He was a part of the station back in the 90s for a couple of years, and we are so happy to still have some of those liners on the radio with his voice. And what he says, even back then, is still meaningful today. There's actually one that I really, really like. It's about, how are you going to know where, I can't even remember, but it's warmed my heart. Over the years, we've aired fishing reports. I believe there's headquarters, Fisherman's Headquarters is one that most people remember the most. Local news, community events, personal and emergency messages, which are very, very famous, where people can call in when they know their family is out in the Boundary Waters, and they can say, I hope Grandpa, this is Grandma, whoever, and Grandpa, just making sure you guys are catching fish, yada, yada, yada. We can do all that again. And we are one of a handful of stations that can continue to do that, as that's written in our FCC license. So that is also coming back. So does anyone have any WELY favorites that you remember? Anybody? Yeah. Polka Don, yeah, Polka Pal Don. Well, thankfully we have Polka Pal Ron. Oh, Wow, I don't remember that one. Huh, interesting. Anything else? Oh, Gil Knight, he stopped in a couple of months ago. He was talking about the fires. He didn't, I should have asked him if he wanted to be back on the morning show. Gil. Hey, Gil, I kind of need a morning show host. Speaking of that, that is coming back. The morning show will be coming back. We have a very small but mighty team at the station. It's myself, the station manager. We have Craig Lockery back, Trader Craig. All of you know Trader Craig, right? He's got the trade show that will be airing Monday through Friday from 9 to 10. We also have Polka Pal Ron. He is back. He started his first show again on Saturday, and it was wow, that's all I can say. I was not allowed in the studio when he started. He told me I had to stay in my car while he was getting things rolling. So there I was out in the car, just listening and just like anticipating the start. And I heard his voice come on, and oh my gosh, I had chill bumps. So the same thing with on Monday when Craig started his show, I had chill bumps. It's just so good to hear those legends back on the air again. So yeah, that's our team right now. We also have Todd Kriego. I think some of you might be familiar with him. He's part of WELY TV and also works at the college. He is our part-time in-house production person. So we have, like I said, a very small and mighty team, but we all have one thing in common. We love WELY and we're very familiar with the community. So that is another tie-in to Civic Media and what they do. They buy a station and they let the community be that station. They don't bring in people to tell you how to do it and the programs to put on or anything like that. They hire the people that have a pulse on the community so they can build that station to be what the community wants. So we're very, very fortunate to have Civic Media because we couldn't do it without them. They are also the team of engineers that make everything possible that you hear. When you have a community radio station, there's so many undertakings and there's so much overhead that makes it hard for a small town to do. That's what Civic Media does. They are basically the backbone, the structure of the radio station. They bring in the engineering team. We share that with all of the stations. We have a production staff that we share with all of the stations. We have a sports share with all the stations. So that way we can still operate like we need to with their support. So that is what Civic Media is giving to us. Right now, in fact, we have a team of tower crew up on the tower, starting to get all of that ready for, I like to call it the Big Daddy 94.5. That will be, there's so much work that needed to be done on that. We had thought that we would roll this out in surprises for everyone, but I think everyone knows when you start a new project, it comes with hurdles, and we've had our share of hurdles. But one thing that hasn't stopped us. We just keep jumping the hurdle and going to the next one and the next one and the next one. So we had planned on how this was going to roll out was in June. We were going to be like, here we are, here's 94.5, we're up on the air. And then you have 1450 AM, and that would have been a separate station. So we kind of had to roll everything out a little differently. We are going to have two separate stations. So what you hear now, 1450 AM, is our oldie station. And that you will hear on 1450 AM, 103.9 FM, and that will stay as it is. The music will stay intact. We're just going to be adding a little bit more into that library, into the 70s era, because classic rock is kind of aged out. No, well, no, I don't shoot the messenger because I love classic rock, but it's kind of now considered more of the oldies. So that is going to be the oldie station. I really hate to even call that. It's just timeless hits. Can I just call it that? That's what I'm going to call it, timeless hits. And then 94.5 is going to be our other station, which is going to be more 80s, 90s, and 2000s. So more of the modern hits. So we were going to offer music for absolutely everybody. So everybody will be happy, right? So, and then along with that, a lot of things will be simulcast. So the morning show, you're going to hear on both. You're going to hear the trade show on both. You're going to hear polka on both for sure. And then programming, we can kind of tailor that programming to be specific for those stations. And we have mission statements and such to help us build that programming. So we know that what we put on meets that mission statement going forward, and we're not just kind of filling air, because I don't want to just fill air. I want to fill the time with content that people are going to want and listen to. So that is kind of the planning process that we have right now. But like I said, you're going to hear Trader Craig, you're going to hear polka, you're going to hear community events are going to start rolling out here soon, where we can get those on the air, and we're looking to increase that as well. It used to be aired 3 times a day. We're looking to increase that to 6 times a day. We have weather. I think some of you have heard our weather, which is really cool because we have our own team of meteorologists. We've never had that before. We've kind of sourced that through a regular like system, and you would get weather that was pretty much Iron Range specific. But we have our own team that is specifically for Ely and our listening area. And in fact, this last Friday, when we had some imminent weather coming through, was the first time that we kind of did the initial break-ins to give those warnings. And so the meteorologists were on almost every song, giving the warnings, what was happening and such. So that is something that's really exciting that we have that we've never had before, is having those customized weather reports. And then also we have the different ways you can listen to us. Like I said, eventually you'll have 94.5 FM. You'll have the 1450 AM, 103.9 FM, and then you can stream us at wely.fm. Our website is still a work in progress, but you'll be able to tailor your channels on that website. And the same thing with our Civic Media app. I don't know if any of you are aware, we do have an app, so you can listen to our station or any of the other 24 stations that we own. So all of that will be on that app, and you can tell which station you want to. So if you download that app, you can listen to it on your smart speakers. You can take it with you everywhere. So that is, I think, very exciting. Like I said, we have some technical issues that we've had to jump through this whole process. Towers being worked on right now. All of the equipment has been ordered. All of that should be here soon, but we are at the mercy of delivery schedules and such like that. So I want to say that before the leaves fall, so I have a couple of months. I have a wish there for 94.5, but I don't like to say it out loud because every time I say it out loud, something happens. So I'm just going to say 94.5 should be up and running before the leaves fall. And that might be the last leaf. Not all the leaves. So that gives me some time into October, right? I think. Again, we're going to be running those 2 stations. And behind the scenes, I'll give you a little kind of what's going on behind the scenes. We have a brand new state-of-the-art studio. We have that on the main floor. We are located, another thing, we are located right next to Northern Expressions Ice Cream. Yeah, that's got, I've been good. I've been really good, because I was really worried about that, because once I go walk in the morning and she's making those cones and you smell that, girls, it's like enticing. It's just like, okay. But we're located right next to them in the Wildlife Liquor Building. And so the first floor is our FM, that will be our FM studio. It's kind of small, just like our team. We have to share a space. But that's on the main floor. And in the basement, we also have a second studio, and that will be our AM studio. So we have 2 brand new state-of-the-art facilities, which is really nice. I mean, I look at the board and I'm just like, oh, this looks so nice. Brand new microphones, everything. So that's wonderful. Also, we have the integration of more engagement with our audience than we've ever had. In the past, we've always been able to take phone calls and maybe put people on air that way and such. Now we have that instant engagement through a text line. So you can text in when we're on the air if we're asking questions like, hey, what time is the Tuesday group again? Somebody could remind us via the text, things like that. So we can have that community engagement immediately while we are on the air. That helps out the on-air host tremendously. From Trader Craig getting ads, you can give your ad via text and he can just see it right up on the screen, get it on the air. Same thing with Polka Ron, he can get those requests and such right up on the air right away. So that is one of the I think very exciting features, is because radio, you typically, like I was telling the girls, I'm used to a box. I don't see people when I'm on talking, so when you ask questions or something, you're like hey, I'm like, you're on the air and you're kind of talking about something and you want somebody to kind of engage you right back, right? And, the phone doesn't ring, nothing happens. Well, I can tell you that text line blows up and we're not even on the air. People are texting us all the time with questions, with comments, with suggestions, with just thousands and thousands of text messages just saying that they're glad we're back. And we are glad to be back for you guys. And that's what it is. We are here for you. We are the voices of this community, and we are more than elated to be back. What else do I have? Challenges. Well, radio comes with its share of challenges. We are competing with podcasts, streaming music platforms, social media. People are being pulled in thousands of different directions. And so that's our competition. And so we have to build a product to compete with that. And we are doing our best to do that. And we think with all the technology advancements and such that we will be able to do that. And with programming, like I said, we're going to roll out programming as we build. It's going to be slow. It's going to be methodical because, again, I'm not just going to fill the air with stuff. I want to fill it with stuff that you guys are going to tune into. I want everyone to tune into this radio station. I want it to be a friend. I want it to be something that you can't wait to tune into in the morning and hear whatever you need to buy from Craig or don't need to buy. Or you need to sell, or you need to sell, get rid of your stuff. But we just want you to tune in and keep us with you. Advertising, obviously, another hurdle that we have because we live in a community that's kind of small and that works off of a majority of it is tourism. So we have to work with those ebbs and flows of that, which I think that we have built a really solid foundation of packaging that makes it touchable for almost every business in town. We didn't come in and think, yes, we have a rate that we want to charge, but we took that rate and we more than halved it. And we've built packages that pretty much can fit every budget out there to get your message on the air. Despite all of those challenges we have, the numbers are staggering again on how we are growing. We had to start our Facebook page from scratch, and that has blown up on its own. We really haven't done anything like share, comment type things. People are just sharing it on their own. That is helping us grow as well. People are actually, so many people are saying that they're telling people to tune into our radio because they love it so much. And these are people that haven't even been to our community. So think of that. They're gonna hear us. They're gonna hear all of us. And they're gonna want to visit this beautiful place that we have. And so I think of it as just another avenue of tourism, to bring tourism to people to our community. So we are growing leaps and bounds through all of our efforts. Again, brought back their beloved programs. They're our legends. They're just the legends. They will always be my legends. I kind of think I'm very fortunate because, again, when I started talking with everyone about this job, I said, I want to bring back everybody that I had on my team the last time I was here. And I fulfilled my wish. I have every single one of them back, and it actually makes me kind of emotional because I like to think of them as my dream team. And together we're going to accomplish this in a big way because I have all of the pieces of the puzzle that I need to do that. And so I'm very, very, very blessed. We will also be the voice of Twins baseball. Yeah, I know. Okay. Yay, Twins, right? When they're doing good. Also, we signed a 7-year contract with the Vikings, which that doesn't happen all the time. You usually sign them for a year. The Vikings affiliates were probably equally as excited as you guys that we are back. So they signed a 7-year contract. So we will be the voice of Vikings for the next 7 years, which is pretty exciting. We will be bringing back local sports, like I said. I'm still looking to fill some of those roles as well. So if anybody likes to get behind a microphone and kind of do local sports, we are looking for some help there. I'm just going to be honest on that one because we have quite a few games and a small manpower for that one. So I am looking for some help on the local sports broadcast. Again, I touched on that advertising packages. We've got advertising packages that can fit pretty much any budget. We have a lot of airtime to fill. So even though you may be paying for 2 ads, you are probably getting 4 to 5 because we are just putting them in there. So now is the perfect time to jump on board WEL-wide advertising. Also, we have added a speaker outside that is blasting our tunes on the street. So we've had some technical issues with that as well. One thing about our area is when we get lightning strikes, it seems to do weird things to our equipment in that studio, and it's always been the case. And for instance, Civic Media is not really used to that, but so we had lightning strikes over the weekend and then did some damage to it. So we have to get some different boxes in there to help with that. But you can listen to us on the street. You don't even have to tune in, which is a great accompaniment to ice cream eating, right? So again, upcoming projects, I already touched on those. We've got 94.5 we're trying to get up, and that is a 35,000 watt station. We are going to be in communities that we haven't really basically been in for a very long time. It's going to get a little crazy over there by the Laurentian Divide, like everything always does, but technically we are almost to Hibbing with our 35,000 watt station. So I also want to embrace our surrounding communities of like Tower and Sedan and Babbitt and kind of embrace them and get their voices on our radio as well, because they're part of our community as well. We're going to expand more local coverage with more community spotlights and interviews. I want more voices. When I say the voices of Ely, you guys are the voices of Ely, whether it be projects, whether it be businesses, whether it be events and such. I want those voices on the radio talking about that, not me, not our on-air hosts. I want those people behind the microphone speaking on it and not us. So we're going to bring more of that in. We're going to continue to maintain and restore all of our equipment and keep it up and running in a trustworthy fashion. We're looking forward to add more live remote broadcasts as well, which we kind of have. I mean, we've always done them in the past, but we're going to actually look at adding more of that as we get that equipment in-house, which just came yesterday. So all of that will get worked out, and then we can start doing live remotes, which will be exciting. So that's pretty much what's going on at the station. We do need help, though, I'll tell you that. One thing you can do is share us, talk about us, tune into us. If you hear an advertiser on the radio and you're in their business, please tell them that you heard it on the radio, because they need to know that their money is working. They work hard for those advertising dollars, and I want them to know that they're getting what they paid for. So please do tell those people that you heard it on the radio. I don't need to sing. But again, that's it. Listen regularly, tune in, share, support the businesses. Please support the businesses, because without them, what do we have? We need them all in our community. And if you know a business that is in need of some advertising and such, please send them our direction. Another avenue we have that we've never offered at the radio station is digital. So that is another component of advertising that we have that we've never had. So that is something that is very fitting for some businesses that really don't need to advertise on the radio. They're trying to hit a target audience that is outside of our jurisdiction. So now we can help them with those digital packages, getting their word out to other areas. We can target those areas by a demographic area, zip code, everything. We can geofence, we can do all kinds of amazing things with digital advertising too. So we offer something just outside of radio as well. So that's what I have for WELY updates. Again, thank you. But now I'd like to open it up for questions. I see an eager hand.
Mr. Elton Brown, wait for me. I'll bring you a microphone.
We really miss WELY. Me personally, when I tell people our phone number, which is 4343, I said, if you misdial, ask for Polka. So I'm not sure you said anything about news, local and national. Where's that coming from?
We do have CBS News. Yes, we do have national news coming on right now. We had, with the storm outage, blew up our computer. So they're working out those technical issues right now, but we do have CBS News on the hour and half hour. as well. And eventually I will be bringing in some more local focused news, because I mean, we need that. So that is something that's also in work in progress.
I just wanted to say that I had family out in the Boundary Waters last week, and they came in and said, we were able to hear WELY. They were really excited that you were back on the air.
Yay, I'm glad to hear that. People are finding us organically too. They may not even know we were there, and they are out in the Boundary Waters, and they have stopped in and been like, yeah, we were just running the dial and here we found you, and we're so glad you're back. We didn't know you were back. So that is exciting.
You said that we should say we heard it on the radio. Did you mean that we should say we saw it on the radio?
Well, yeah, you saw it on the radio.
Yeah.
Yeah, specifically on WELY. Thank
Yeah,
you.
I'm wondering if you need or are hiring any volunteer musical DJs?
Well, okay, let's go into that a little bit different. So we can operate a little differently here at WELY. We're not a nonprofit, but we are a public benefit corporation. So we can take volunteers and have volunteers to help us in the different avenues, which that should be something I touched on as well. Thank you for bringing that up, because there are a lot of moving parts to running a radio station, and we are finding some areas that we do need help. For instance, Ron has a staff of volunteers who help with running the polka show, and he needs those because there's a lot of phone calls. So things like that, you know, we could have somebody who's like, hey, I want to help out with answering phones. I want to help folding t-shirts. I want to help you out at the festival. We can take those volunteers. And then also with programming, if somebody comes to us with a programming idea, for instance, and it fits with the mission of either of the stations, and we're like, yeah, that sounds like something that we really want to do. And they're like, yeah, because I do have a file at the office of all kinds of content people are presenting. And if it fits the mission and everything, that is something that we can definitely look into. Yes.
I
So,
have 2 questions, but one is for Larry. What kind of music show are you trying to host?
oh, well, there's a good one.
Alternative and acoustic rock music.
Okay. Okay.
Terry, what do you know offhand the different missions for the different stations?
We haven't finalized those mission statements, because again, we're still working on finalizing that format for 94.5. So that is something we'll come together. And again, now I just hired that last person. Todd started this week, and I'm not building the statement. I want it to be a collective effort with all of us. So we're going to have a meeting and build that statement together.
Thanks.
So.
Excuse me, I would encourage you to do one thing about anything else.
Oh, no.
Archive. Everybody says we remember this. There is no, unless I'm wrong, there is nothing. No archives.
There's nothing.
So one of the thoughts is people record things. People have stuff. Let's see if we can get our history in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah, because we don't have.
Archiving is, it drove me crazy for the last, every time I worked up there, it drove me crazy.
We will be archiving. That is a given, because in fact, I believe we're going to even be able to implement if you missed a show, you can tune into the show later. So that is, again, that's our work in progress. There's so many moving parts. But again, if somebody has anything from the old WELY, we would love to have it, because we have nothing. We literally got an FCC license, and that's it. And so we had people bring in, we do have an original Polka Pal Dawn t-shirt that was donated to the station that hangs proudly there. We have a picture of Charles Perrault, because we lost that. So I know that it's out there, because I believe that when there was a transition between the 2 owners at the original sale, stuff was put out on the deck and said, just come grab it. So there's stuff out there. For instance, I don't really remember Fisherman Headquarters, the show. Maybe you do, Gil. But I kind of would like to recreate that again with a new, obviously a new entity, but I need to kind of listen to it so I can get a feel of what it is. So there's a lot of things that I do want to bring back in a new form. So it'd be nice to have those. So yeah, if you're talking to people and you happen to say, oh, I got some of this, or I've got that recorded, even just a simple recording, that's all we need to kind of listen to it. But we will be archiving.
Did WELY used to advertise itself at the end of the road radio?
Thank you for asking about that. Actually, yes. And Charles Corralt, thank you to him. That's who dubbed that. We are not going to call ourselves end of the road radio anymore. We are going to get rid of that. There's a couple of reasons why, because this is the fresh take on WELY. And so we want to run with a fresh take. It's not that we don't want to honor him. We are honoring him in a big way. We won't get rid of those liners that even he says end of the road, but it's not going to be WELY end of the road radio going forward. Because again, it's a new fresh vision that we want to go with, and we want to run with that.
Quick side note, if you want to bring back Fisherman's Headquarters, the radio show, maybe it could have something to do with the Ely Folk School, which is now in the old Fisherman Headquarters building.
Oh, interesting. That is
Some
true.
ideas for you.
My sister used to work there. Maybe I could pick her brain and see if she remembers that show.
I may have missed it, but are you broadcasting 24/7 or a limited schedule?
24/7. I also should say this, because a lot of people don't realize when professional sports are on, the stream goes quiet. So if you turn on via the app or on WELY.fm and it's dead air, that is because that would more than likely the Twins or the Vikings are playing. And in the future, again, another thing we're working on is there will be a stream music. Music will still play when professional sports are on or streaming. So on the streaming devices, you'll still be able to hear music. You just won't be able to hear the professional sports because that's part of the contract. You cannot air over the over web-based anything. So
you said digital. I'm sorry, I don't know what that means. What does digital mean?
well, digital is anything, for instance, you're tuned into Spotify. For instance, I said that in my competition, but you're tuned into Spotify and you're not paying for the premium package. They will still have ads on that. And so they can have audio ads that will come via that Spotify app, and you'll hear that ad that way. Digital is also if you're searching online for a vacation. I really should have the digital queen here answer this for me. But if you're searching online for vacation packages, such, and you type in Ely, so then those ads for that area are going to come up via the digital platforms. So that's what that means. So it's just, again, it's another way for us to help our community advertisers reach areas that outside of our airwaves.
Do you think a shorthand would be to say like online?
Online, yeah, online advertising. That's the easiest way to say that.
Are you playing any vinyl, and are you looking for any donations of rock, classical, whatever kind of?
I have been approached about a couple of people about doing some vinyl shows with playing vinyl records. And that is something that I definitely would like to do because that's definitely hitting a comeback in a big, big way. And we used to have a collection of vinyl in the basement. That's all gone, but that probably was even damaged. But yeah, definitely looking to do some of that.
And if Terry says no, you can just donate any extra vinyl and any extra vinyl players to me. To me. I foolishly didn't replace one after we had a garage fire. And how much regret do I feel now? Every time I want to put my phone away, I realize I need to be listening to music. So glad the radio is back.
Yes. So are
More questions? Does anyone remember when we had Bill McKibben speak at Tuesday Group? That was very exciting. Bill McKibben wrote a book in 2006 called Deep Economy. And it's a book sort of talking about economic resilience in changing times. And he contributes an entire chapter to talking about the value of something like local radio, because so much of what we need to be doing for economic resilience is turning locally and sharing local messages, sharing local voices, having local flavor to our entertainment channels and our communication channels. And so it's just so wonderful that WELY is back. And if anyone is interested, that book is Deep Economy. Okay, so we have a question coming from the Zoom. Have you contacted the Ely Heritage Preservation Commission to help you with radio artifacts and focusing projects around WELY?
Not yet.
Oh, by the way, she says, there are 2 open seats on the commission. So if you're interested in the Heritage Preservation Commission, you can get involved. And they also have a relationship with the Ely History. Another question?
Yeah, well, Terry, have you ever considered broadcasting the Tuesday?
I have never been approached about that. So therefore I haven't really thought about that, but that is what a thought. What a thought. Well, Tuesday, I don't, but yeah, that is something that definitely we could.
Oh. See, great things happen when we come together and share space.
Yeah.
All right, folks, oh, sorry.
The other thing, when you're talking about the local voices, local radio, we're not gonna be polished. We're not gonna sound like, and we don't wanna sound like the other stations. We wanna sound like Ely. We want that, just our Ely voices. And I will apologize if you hear a dog barking on the morning show, because Daisy is on payroll. And she comes to work and sometimes she has an opinion, and therefore you might hear that opinion on the morning show. So I'm sorry. But she's on payroll. Gotta take it with me. So, but yeah, we're just gonna keep rolling the way WELY has been rolling for years.
Oh, we have another question in the back. Wonderful. We still have a moment, so we can have another question. In the meantime, let me remind you, next week's program is Northspan's employee Amber Lewis is going to be presenting on their Dawn program, driving access to wealth networks. So Northspan is a regionally operating organization that does a lot of things, and I think it'll be really interesting to learn from her. And the week after that, we're hearing from our local loon expert, our friend the lunatic Sherry X.
Maybe I missed it, but will there be time for classical music?
You know, that AM station, I do have some really, they're kind of hidden in my back pocket, but I'll give you a little hint. I definitely want to utilize that AM station for some very unique content. I do believe that classical and or big band and old time radio, just give you that hint. A little bit of, I want us to appreciate the simpler things in life. And so by offering some unique programming like that, I know we're modern day, but I don't know, slowing down and listening to a show on the radio, just, I don't know. The Lone Ranger, the modern day Lone Ranger, yeah. Well, you know, that I got a lot of ideas that I really want to roll out with that AM station. I actually have, which is really odd that I have more that I want to do with the AM side than I really do want to do with the FM side, because I think that modern day stuff will just kind of evolve on its own in a sense, whereas the AM with that unique oldies platform could be so much.
The Sunday morning with Millie show was wonderful and something that I would listen to on Sunday mornings. Not while I was doing other things necessarily, just kind of a meditative time.
Great. It was a wonderful show. And sadly she retired. Maybe we could, I mean, Craig came out of retirement, right?
What was it?
She did it was Millie. Her voice was soothing. Her voice was comforting. Her music was soothing and comforting. She never had, no, she just played. She had her own collection that she played from. And it was varying from moment to moment, but it was a very, very popular show on Sunday mornings it was a great way to start a week. It was just a slow, Millie there was nothing speedy about Millie. She went about her morning show very slowly, which I think I guess you can kind of sense a theme that I'm looking for, is to slow ourselves down.
Here.
I'm thinking about a possible programming idea. Can you bring people in if they're not in the station? Like if somebody's in the Twin Cities, could they
Yes, there are technical, there's things that we can do for content via it be voice tracking and other methods, or them producing their own show and sending it to us. There's different ways that we can do things. You know, we haven't got all of that in place yet, but yes, there are ways, because I do have a gentleman that I am wanting to get on the air who lives in the Brainerd Lakes area. So that's why we're kind of working through some of that, so I can possibly utilize his services that way. Cool.
Terry, thank you so much for the work that you're doing.
I
We
did.
are so grateful to have learned from you today, and we look forward to tracking what happens with WELY and celebrating it and supporting it. Thank you
Well,
very much.
thank you very much for your time. I do appreciate it.